name is Crystal Silas, and I am here to introduce our next presenter, Chris Thompson. Chris Thompson seriously thinks he can help change the world. As president of Civic Collaboration Consultants, he helps leaders design and sustain collaborations to address wicked, persistent challenges such as hunger, homelessness, public health, and equitable economic growth. Chris has worked on civic issues in Northeast Ohio for more than 25 years, including 9 years with the Fund for Our Economic Future. He's a father to 2, husband to 1, and grandfather to 2 for now. The title of Chris's presentation is How First Grade Perpetuates World Hunger and Other Wicked, Persistent Problems. Chris?
Good evening, everybody, and no, I'm not going to blame these cute first graders or even their teachers for world hunger or any of the other wicked, persistent problems, or for future reference, WPPs that plague our communities and our world. But if you're like me and you want to change our world, and after the last 2 weeks, who doesn't want to change the world? We need to do a better job of dealing with the complexity that's at the root of these WPPs like world hunger. We know that there's plenty of food in the world, but it's the complexity of our food systems, our transportation systems, our political systems that make it so that millions of people go to bed hungry at night. So we have to better understand this really big, scary word called complexity. And if you're like me, this word intimidates you because it cries out science and math. And I'm like blue-green. I don't do science and math. I'm a storyteller. And that's why I tell stories, because I don't do science and math. But I learned that we can deal with, miss the slide, okay. There we go. Complexity is not as hard as we think it is. I can boil it down to 3 points on a PowerPoint slide. Pretty good, right? Maybe these 3 points don't quite do it for you. So let's use the analogy of nature for a moment. After all, our natural system is the most complex system out there. And we can view nature through the simple lens of it being a flower, but we know that being a flower can only prosper if it's part of a garden. But if you have my gardening skills, just ask my wife out in the audience, you'll know how darn complicated it is to make a garden look like this. But the good news is, I can hire a gardener, all right? But we also know that this garden can only prosper if it's part of a healthy ecosystem. And guess what? There is no gardener I get to hire to make this. This is complexity come to life. Order and beauty emerges from the interaction of independent players inside a system. Order and beauty emerges all the time. We need to think about what does it take for order and beauty like this to emerge from the complex civic systems in our communities, such as, can we go back one slide? Thank you. The complex civic system you might call the hunger system, or the food security system. Feeding a person at a soup kitchen, not all that different from running from the bee and the flower. As we know, just across the way, we can hire a great CEO to run a food bank, but who do we hire to end hunger? That's all of our jobs. And how well we do at ending hunger depends in large part of how well we interact with each other. Everyone needs to be engaged. There's a word for that. We use that word all the time here in Akron. What's that word? Collaboration. And I know when the communities that I work in, the communities that collaborate well can achieve change. And you look at history, whether it's the civil rights movement, the environmental movement, women's suffrage, all of those changes were driven by collaboration. And if that's the definition of collaboration, go back one slide. Here's the rude reality of collaboration. And one of the reasons, only one of the reasons, why collaboration is indeed an unnatural act among non-consenting adults is we don't know how to do it. We're not trained in it. What are we trained in? What do we learn from first grade on?
Competition.
No, what we learn is that. Organizational structure. And we all work for one of these, don't we? Even myself. I work for myself, but all of my clients are one of those, an organization. By the way, doesn't that look like a first grade seating chart? It's not a coincidence. The systems that we're trying to bring change to don't look like the org chart. They look like this, and they're not nearly this neat, by the way. So this is the first way first grade hinders our ability to deal with those WPPs. They teach us to view the world through an organizational lens, and we have to develop a systems lens. Okay? The second way that first grade really doesn't help us out is it really emphasizes solving technical problems and not so much the adaptive problems such as ending poverty. The most common leadership error out there is confusing an adaptive challenge with a technical problem, thinking we can find technical solutions to the adaptive challenges that face our community. Why do we make this mistake? Why is this the most common mistake? Well, what do we start working on in first grade? We work on problems that look like these. Remember these? They're not all that different from those ACT problems and those LSAT problems too, right? We learn how to solve technical problems with technical solutions. But when we're dealing with the adaptive problems facing our communities, we have to acknowledge that we don't know the answers in advance. There are no technical solutions. And we learn in first grade the dangers of saying, I don't know. And by the time we reach the executive suite, who's willing to acknowledge they don't know? Heck, we just elected a president because he told people he knew the answers to everything. Okay? But when we acknowledge we don't know the answers to these adaptive problems, we begin to practice inquiry. We ask new, compelling questions that challenge our assumptions and help us imagine what it takes for order and beauty to emerge from these complex systems. And this is the third way school really doesn't help us out. What does school teach us to do? Answer questions, not ask them. We need to ask new, compelling questions like why? Despite all of our best efforts, does hunger persist in our community? The good news is we can catalyze enduring positive community change. We can do it by asking new, compelling questions about the adaptive challenges embedded in the complex systems that make up our community. We may not have learned how to do that in first grade, but we can learn how to do that together. And together, we can create the change we want in the communities we care about. Thank you very much.